January the 19th, 2024. Guys, we had a couple of days break in this freezing weather, and it's coming back on us now here in central Mississippi at 10:18 a.m. Central Time. We're dealing with 35 degrees and a real feel of 28. It's not going to get much warmer than that today, and you can see that Texas, parts of Texas, most of Louisiana and Mississippi and Alabama are all in a hard freeze watch again, or a hard freeze warning, excuse me. Up above this, you got winter storm watches and warnings. You got wind chills that move all the way up through into Canada. Now, of course, there's another storm building here in the northwest. It's going to sweep across. But what's going on, guys, is the Arctic Vortex, which we have been kind of keeping an eye on because we were watching something up on the North Pole there and watching the vortex spin at the upper levels of the jet stream. Well, in the beginning of December, it was very tightly wrapped up around the Arctic. Very high winds, keeping all that cold air trapped there. But when those bands break, or those large areas of the vortex, when they break apart, all of that air spills to the south, and that's what we're seeing happening now. In a couple of days, it should tighten back up, and we get into much better weather. But now we're going to get through this night and through tomorrow night, very cold, and then we're going to have a week of rain just about here in the south. So it will be warmer in the 50s, maybe into the 60s some days, but rain is predicted, and quite a bit of it in several places, up to 5 to 6 inches. So we're going to have to just go through a cold spell, then wet. Then we hope we get a break and kind of gets a little bit milder. But I want to show you what's going on with the vortex. Now, guys, this is set back to December 1st, just so I can show you some of the changes here. We were looking at it at that time because of the anomaly that is here, still there, been there a while, right there. Now, we'll look at that a little bit later in the video. Some people ask exactly how we got to this point where you could see it, but first, let's look at what we're dealing with the weather. Again, December 1st, everything's wrapped up here around the Arctic and over northern Russia and parts of Alaska here. Now, when we pull this up, you can see just how nice it was. Again, folks in Canada were complaining wasn't enough snow, wasn't cool enough for the time of year. Now, I want to move it up till the 15th and 16th because that's when it got cold on us a few days ago here in the south, like it's going to do tonight and tomorrow night. So if we move our timestamp up, and guys, you just click right here on this calendar, and you can go forward till today, the 19th, right there. And you click OK, you'll notice quite a bit of difference. The entire vortex has collapsed as far as being round. You still got this very circular motion over Alaska and parts of Russia. This is Kamchatka there. But notice the U.S. now is getting plenty of it. It came down the 15th. This is the 19th, but it started this on the 15th and 16th. Let me show you that. Again, you can click on your calendar here, go back. This was the first really cold day in the southeast this year. You can see it starting to break down. It was not as strong as it is now. That's the 15th. Let's just go one more day into the 16th, and I think that was the colder of the 2 days here. And you can see that you've got it starting to break apart right there. It's not as quite tightly wrapped over this section, and the parts of this have weakened and pulled into the southern U.S. That's why we got so cold. Now, we'll go back to the 19th today. Look at 19th here. Look at it. You can see it's still, and this is up in the upper levels. But what is really dropping the cold in on us is that it is doing this at almost all the levels. We'll go back down. You can see here's your vortex here along the southeast and the east coast. Here you still got strong winds in the same areas all the way. A lot of times you won't see that. You'll only see it in layers. Now, again, we'll go back to our upper level jet stream, and let's move forward a couple days and see what's going to happen. We know 19th and 20th are going to be very cold. Let's just go up to the 22nd and see what begins to happen here. There we go. Vortex is weakening here. and pulling back up north like we were seeing. See that? We're going to get a break from it after this weekend, but this is going to bring in moisture off the Pacific Ocean, part of the El Nino effect. So we're going to have moisture, but we're going to get a break in the temperatures. Now, let's go back to the 19th. I want to point out a couple things. It was questions that were asked in the last video about this. How you get to that phenomenon, or whatever you want to call it, that we're seeing at the North Pole. Again, the physical North Pole. So tilt it up, and you can see already that there's something there. You can also turn off the wind. See this play button right there? Click that. Now, move this up, and there it is. Now, we're at the highest part of this model, which is about 84,000 feet. Now, the atmosphere goes up to 330,000 feet, but this is very high up. This is where your jet streams are very strong. And as you pull this up, you can see it's just like we have watched the Earth's magnetosphere protect and shield the Earth from incoming. And that's what we're seeing. This right here is the actual physical North Pole where these lines cross. And that's where everything's spinning at. And we turn this back on. It's hard to see it there. If we go back down, and right there, that's going down to about 60,000 feet. You can still see something there, and you can see how all of this is in like a vortex itself, both on the South Pole, but it's stronger here because we're in winter in the northern continents. Back it out. But again, you can look at it from any height, from the surface to 1,000 millibars of pressure, which are getting higher. You can see it change. Really picking up there, here. Larger area being affected. I'm not zooming it up, just leaving the zoom as it is. Coming up. Here again, we're about 60,000 feet. You can still see this, but at the upper levels, here at 84,000, very clear imaging of whatever the shield is. Again, it's in front of the spin. That's how you get here. And so I've got some people that may know a little bit more about this, and I wanted to explain to them and you guys how you get to this point. Now, you'll see this decrease when the vortex gets away from the physical North Pole. When you start to see the greens and blues, you'll see the intensity wind down some of this effect. But again, one of the things that has still thrown me off is we see the trailing motion of the affected area here. Probably see a little better at 60 right there. But the shields still remain to the left of the object. And when we're dealing with solar winds and our planet, the shield would technically be on this side. But there's something there we're not quite understanding, and I'm still not sure what it is. I've heard some fairly good ideas, nothing conclusive, and no proof of anything yet. But something's showing up, guys. I'm, again, not sure what it is. But we just got to wait a couple more days, and we're going to get back to semi-normal. Like I said, a wet week, but the temperatures back in the 50s and 60s, which is a lot easier to deal with than busted frozen pipes and power going out and all that. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.